You're very welcome back. Now, in her early 20s, former Irish rugby international Sophie Spence took up the sport, having previously played netball. She moved from her home in Newcastle and made her debut for the Six Nations in 2012, becoming a star of Irish rugby.
After announcing her recent retirement, the former nominee for World Rugby Player of the Year, Sophie Spence, is here to tell us what the future holds. Good morning.
Hi, Sophie.
Sophie,
Hiya.
I don't know whether to say congratulations on an amazing career or commiserations on the end of that career, but let's start at the end, if you like. You got a phone call, you're not in the Six Nations squad, you had hoped to maybe be in there and make that your swan song. What was that like? Was that a tough call to get?
Yeah, I suppose you never know how it's going to end. I kind of, thought about, do I continue after the World Cup? Obviously, that was, I suppose, a devastating tournament for us. But I kind of ploughed on, got over injury, and then thought, right, OK, I'll give it one more go. And obviously, I got the call, which, you kind of look on and think, right, OK, well, I've had a good journey so far. And then you look to the future to think, right, what am I going to do next?
What does a call like that consist of?
I just got...
It's not an easy call to receive or make.
No, not at all. And I suppose, for me, you just take in the information. I suppose you don't get the time to actually process it until post the phone call, and maybe you have a few conversations with people. So, very politely got the phone call. Wasn't going to be involved in the squad due to fitness, and... I need to play club rugby, and I suppose the decision for me then was, because I was only going to do one more tournament, I wouldn't have been seeing another international season, which would have been in 2019 for the Six Nations. So I suppose that's what made the decision to retire there and then.
I imagine that leaves a huge gap in your life, which we'll get to in a moment, because it's been an incredible journey, if you like, you use that word. How does a netball player from the northeast of England go on to become one of Ireland's, most successful rugby players ever, involved in an incredible journey for Irish women's rugby and Irish rugby in general? How did it all happen?
I think it's opportunity and someone taking a chance on you. As you said, born in the northeast of England, and I only took up rugby when I was 21, so it was through one of the girls who was I was playing rugby with. We went down to London. We did the first ever exile session, and I was lucky that day that Philip Doyle, Goose at the time, was the coach and was overtaking the session. He gave me a bit of feedback and said, look, I want you to work on X, Y and Z. And from there on, got myself a personal trainer. I thought, right, I need to work on my fitness. I am very raw to the sport, but I really want to push myself and see what I can do, whether it be 2-3 years. And I suppose that January 2012, I was capped and mentored extremely well by coaches and senior players. So that was the start of the journey. And
what a journey it was. I mean, you guys did incredible things. What was it like being involved in that, not just in terms of being involved in a team, but what you were doing for women's sport in Ireland, for the game of rugby, and everything that went around it, winning the Six Nations twice, getting into a World Cup semi-final, beating New Zealand, all these things. It must have been an incredible experience. Yeah,
I suppose the moments that you don't really think about and probably reflect on until it's over, it's conversations that you're constantly having, and, OK, this happened then, and, how can we move forward in the game? And, they're the exciting memories that you'll take. And I suppose it's the power of the culture that we had as a squad, and, the team ethos that we had. And it's that you're on the pitch, you'll, live, breathe, die for each other to all go towards the same goal and meet those goals as well, yeah.
We often hear the horror stories of the damage that particularly male rugby players do to their bodies and their head as well, with the whole concussion thing. Was that a concern for you? Because ultimately women are fantastic and super strong and able to play any sport they want to, but our bodies are different. We're built differently.
No, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I've had a fair few injuries. I was out with concussion the back of, what was that, 2016 now, and that took me some time. I was out for 4 months, but it was the support network that I had around me, my mum, my friends, my teammates. I think the most challenging thing is when you're out of that structure, what do you do? How do you cope? And it's about putting structures in place to make sure that you're fully fit and fully right to get back before you step on the pitch.
It's about going off at the right time as well, isn't it?
The incredible achievements you guys had over those seasons in terms of Six Nations World Cups. What happened last summer with the World Cup in Ireland, that was just, I guess that must have made it much harder to take, given what you'd achieved in the past. Looking back on it now, is there still a sense of anger amongst the girls about the, I mean, I know your teammate Ruth O'Reilly did an interview with the Irish Times where she questioned the IRFU's backing for the team, that the preparations weren't right. Do you feel you could have done so much more? Do you feel you could have challenged to win that tournament? How do you feel about it now?
It's one still we talk about constantly,
Yeah.
you know, and now we can say we can have a few pints and talk about it. But I think now we've got to look forward and look to be more solution focused, and you know, hopefully the structures will be put in place and the resources will be increased, and you know, we can move forward to not just develop the national team but the grassroots, the club structure, and that's what's going to enable us to be a better national team in the future as well. But obviously a lot of upset. We would have liked things to turn out a bit differently, but I think you can dwell on the past or you can take it as experience and move on in the future. Yeah.
Looking towards the future, you are well prepared. I know it's a tricky, we were chatting during the break about so many rugby soccer stars that we've spoken to on this show, that they're completely lost when their career ends. Whether they made the call or someone else made the call, it's just that completely debilitating moment of what's next. But you are actually someone who's quite well prepared compared to most, I would say.
I suppose because you have to balance your career. You know, it's that work-life balance as you're playing as well, and you're training hard. But you know, I have my own rugby academies which I'm doing across Ireland. I want to get in the space of coaching and be in rugby and be mentored well, so we can see what the future holds. And I suppose it's all about opportunities. If someone will give you opportunity, I'll definitely take the hand off them, and you know, to get that experience.
How key is it in what you do in the future that you help girls get involved in the game, like you got the opportunity, that if they're interested, if there's a spark of interest that's been, you know, brought up in the last few years, that they get a chance to get those opportunities and the backing?
It's really important. I think it's not just rugby, it's all sport.
Yeah.
You know, we look at sport, it's that healthy mind, healthy body, and you know, the social aspect. And there's a lot of talk about it now, and it's important that we do get young girls, young boys involved in sport for different aspects. But if we can give them as many opportunities, whether it be rugby, Gaelic, whatever it is, just to be involved and be active.
And inspire them as well, because we've such a frightening rate of teenage girls dropping out of sport at a certain point in secondary school. So they need people like you to look at and inspire them.
Yeah.
Just mention your mother, Myrtle, by the way, who is the connection with Ireland. She must be incredibly proud to see you wearing the green jersey over the years.
Yeah, very happy. You know, I think my mum hadn't watched a game before I played for Ireland, and you know, she was my biggest fan when I was there, and I think she's more upset than me, probably finishing now, and she's booked her flights over for the Six Nations.
Yeah,
so
she's still a fan.
Yeah, instead of me, you know, being on the pitch, we'll have a few drinks and go and watch the girls and support. Exactly.
Well, you made her proud. You made us all proud, Sophie. Great career. Well done.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sophie. Good luck.